Hey guys, we're going to take a look at a couple of examples of portfolios that got a score of 3 in their investigation and a score of a 1. So this first one, the score is 3. The student stated that her sustained investigation is about a character dealing with autism at school and home. She created an autistic character to represent herself because she has autism. The character has weaknesses such as communication, socialization, and daydreaming whenever she's uninterested in what she hears or sees. Creativity is her main strength, art is her special interest. Her character is always a loner, which she prefers. She goes on in the writing prompt number 2 to talk about specific pieces, but we're not going to be looking at those specific pieces right now. We're more interested in the written response. Feel free to take a look at the images for this sustained investigation on your own. They're really great, very well united. Great example of using pen and color pencil to create some really nice drawings. But we're interested in down here, the score rationale. So up top, they give you the rubric for how this is scored based off of 1, 2, or 3, and she did get a 3 on this. So we're looking to see that written evidence identifies an inquiry that guided the sustained investigation, and that there's visual evidence demonstrating the sustained investigation. So remember, her idea was a character that has autism, her experience having autism, and expressing those experiences to the viewer. So the reader says, in the portfolio, the development of a character dealing with her autism at school and home guides the investigation. The visual evidence supports this inquiry in illustrating the difficulties one with autism may be experiencing, including weaknesses such as communication, socializing, and daydreaming. The student's personal experience with autism leads the viewer through an intimate journey of situations. The student thoughtfully approaches each image with various compositional arrangements, further unified by the competent use of line variation, and color. Now, they go on to talk a little bit more about the investigation, but we're just interested in this top part here that explains that, yes, this is a good inquiry. There is evidence that the inquiry is investigated thoroughly and that it is clear. Now let's take a look at the score of 1. So here in this student response, they said, my sustained investigation is my exploration and documentation of my father's collection and my glorification of it. It was my unusual childhood playground. It gave me the chance to be a child. It's a big part of my life, providing most of my family's income. I wanted to give the viewer a more personalized experience and let them look through my eyes. It's supposed to be nostalgic and reminiscent of the past. I see the potential of what it will all create in the future because it will all be recycled and reused. So in my portfolio, I changed the color to embody the future renewal of objects. Now, before we even look at the score response to this, do you have any idea what this is about? The wording does not make it clear. What is the father's collection? What does he collect? They kind of talk about how it's part of the family's financial income, but not how. So this is already starting to be a very unclear investigation. You can take a look at the images. We're not as interested in the images again at this point because we're more interested in the written response. So I'm just going to flip all the way down here. Keep going. Okay. So again, here's our rubric. The highlighted portion here on the left is the score that this student got. It was a 1, and this is the score rationale for why. The written evidence provided for this portfolio of works does not successfully identify an inquiry. While many images are visually compelling in terms of their color and their design, the student does not state what those images represent. As a result, the viewer may conclude that the intention is the digital manipulation of photographs of junk or recycled material. Instead, the student merely identifies them as documentation of my father's collection. But what is my father's collection? They don't say. They go on to talk a little bit about how there is very good design skills shown in this portfolio, but for this particular portion, they scored a 1. So you want to really carefully identify what your inquiry is and make sure that it's a good inquiry that you can sustain over the investigation of 15 or more pieces, and that you can express what that inquiry is to your audience.